Most immediate threat to our country. Tough choices, right? Here now, Marc Thiessen, American Enterprise Institute scholar and a Fox News contributor, and Isaac Wright, Democratic strategist and former executive director of Correct the Record. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
You know,
we talk about the NFL, we talk about the tiffs that may or may not be happening inside the White House, but the thing that perhaps presents the greatest threat to this country is Iran and North Korea. Mark, let me start with you. Not recertifying, what are the implications of that?
Well, I mean, he can't recertify. First of all, this has nothing to do with the actual nuclear deal. Under U.S. law, the president is required every 90 days to recertify the deal. And so what he's required to say if he recertifies the deal is that Iran is transparently, verifiably, and fully implementing the agreement, and that the agreement is in the vital national security interests of the United States. He can't say that because the agreement under the agreement, Iran does not have to allow the IAEA into its into its military facilities. So they cannot literally, transparently, verifiably say that they're complying with the intent of the agreement, which is not to proceed with their nuclear program. And second, he just went to the UN and said correctly that this agreement is an embarrassment. So how could he then now go to Congress and certify that this is in the vital national security interests of the United States? So he cannot truthfully recertify.
So he's essentially, Isaac, kicking this back to Congress. Condoleezza Rice spoke with Dana Perino earlier today. She said, I would never have agreed to this deal in the first place, but she felt that it should be recertified. What do you think?
So let's be clear. The JCPOA, as it's often called, the Iran nuclear deal, addresses specifically nuclear arms. It has successfully kept the Iranians from becoming a nuclear power. Since it was implemented, the IAEA that Mark mentioned, the U.S. Secretary of State's office, our own Defense Department, our Intelligence Department have all actively monitored Iran. 17,000 nuclear centrifuges have been removed. 95% of the enriched uranium has been removed. The one heavy water plutonium reactor has been disabled. Right now, this agreement is working.
Right,
it is
so you
what has
believe
kept
that it's
Iran
working
from
and that it should be recertified.
Power.
And Marc Thiessen is
if they are compliant, it should be recertified. Right now, Telford, Mattis, and the State Department have all said they believe they're in compliance.
Well, that's true, Mark. Tillerson and Mattis support continuing this deal. So you've got a divide happening between the people who had lunch together today. And, you know, how do you think that's playing out?
Well, first of all, they're compliant with the deal in the sense that the deal is so bad that it doesn't require them to allow the IAEA to visit any facility that it wants to check whether they're complying with the intent of the agreement, which is to dismantle the nuclear program. They're also pursuing ballistic missiles, whose only purpose is to deliver a nuclear warhead to the United States. So this is and they're allowed to continue enriching uranium, and there's all sorts of bad things that they're allowed to continue doing because it's a terrible deal. But the problem with the deal is that it was front-loaded, so the Obama administration has already sent them plane loads of unmarked bills with billions of dollars that they are now using to destabilize the entire Middle East, to fund the Taliban, to fund terrorist groups, and left with us now are the restrictions on them. So, you know, it's a terrible deal, but yeah, you might have to stay in it, but that doesn't mean the president has to say it's in the national security interests of the United States.
Mark brings up a lot of important points there. I say important because those are myths that we need to dispel lest people mistake them for the truth. Let's be clear here. This deal, if you torpedo it, it will cut off our nose to spite our face. It is the most stringent deal in arms control history internationally. It's not based on trust. It's based on verification. They literally monitor from the import-export to the supply chain and mining up. Yes, it is. It's in the deal.
Well, clearly Isaac feels safer having this deal and wants it certified. But I think it's very interesting.
Doing these things.
Hold on, guys. I do think it's very interesting that Tillerson and Mattis believe that this should be recertified. It's going to go back to Congress, and then they're going to be the ones who have to deal with sort of certifying it themselves and saying whether or not they're going to recommend that the president sign this thing. I got to leave it there, guys. Thank you very much. Quick break, and we will be right back.